Good afternoon. It is January 29th, 2021. Here's what we were looking at for today. And just to give you some context, I included some of yesterday too. Prices just trending down. Uh, but it looked like early this morning it was a upward range, range with an upward bias. Then what time is this? So about 5:50, we had this leg down. And prices just ranged in between there because we had a leg up, and that was after the open. But then we had this red channel down. Let me get rid of the crosshairs. Had this channel down, and you really had to play the short-term trend lines and channels. And then prices at looks like about 10:30 corrected a little bit into the afternoon. Now they've pretty much been ranging, but what I want to do now is I actually want to look at the trades I took on the MES. Now that I have um, a new computer, I got 64 NinjaTrader 64-bit. So let's see. And I'm only going to go over the live trades, the sim trades. I'm not going to go over. Oh, looks like they only showed the sim trades. Huh. Let's see if I change my account. Okay, there we go. Interesting. Okay, so I took 3 trades. They all worked. Let's take a look at why I took them. So it looked like prices were trending up. We had this channel, and then we had this steeper channel. May I say these gold areas, the overnight lows, overnight highs, and this was just an area of an important price level. So when we had this channel up and that first break, I might have treated this like a failed second entry short. Let's see. Probably, yeah, I think that's what I treated this as for. Oh no, that's just a first entry, so maybe from here. But anyway, I took this as my signal bar after that first break, and that's a nice trend up. I had so after that, I'm expecting a move to a new high or to test a new high. I do think that's probably too aggressive for my liking because that's at the overnight highs, right? So probably not something I would do again, but it did work out. I got all 3 of my targets hit, and then prices broke out into this range. Let's take a look. Yeah, and I don't know if I see any entries I like. Maybe this one. First entry, second entry. That's a first entry though. This is a second entry, but you no, that would have worked. And this would have worked if you didn't want to take, right? That's a first entry, second entry, no signal bar, first entry, second entry. So if you didn't take this, yeah, I was watching this. I actually wanted to take this and didn't. Oh no, I didn't take this. So when I saw this, I wanted to take this, but I couldn't get in time. But yeah, you could have taken those. Then we have this channel down. I probably wasn't watching for a little bit because I didn't mark that channel down. Let's see when my next trade is. Okay, here, what is this? First entry, second entry. So off this high, first entry, you get a second entry at the trend line or near the trend line. So I put it in on this bar. Signal bar's kind of, it's questionable, but it's at the top of this. It's like a breakout pullback and a second entry. That's why I liked it. Um, so unfortunately, it looks like I only got uh, a 1 point scalp and a 2 point scalp. My 3rd point scalp must have come back and hit break even. And then we go here. Oh, okay, this is definitely aggressive because look at the signal bar. It's pretty neutral and it's in congestion. but I did hit all my targets. So I got a 1-point scalp, 2-point scalp, and a 3-point scalp. But anyway, let's move on to the ES, and I'll try and go through this quick because that took a while. Go through my trades, but there's a lot to go over. This took me probably 40 minutes to analyze. So, but like I said, I'll try and go quick. Prices early in the morning, they looked like they were in this green channel up. Looks like we have a failed second entry short here. Is that, oh, that's from here. First entry, second entry short, off the EMA. You get this big move up. So if you got that, you're good for the day. Well, I guess you could have gotten stopped out here. But oh, and that might actually be, yeah, that's the second entry, but you don't get a signal bar. All right, and anyway, prices then, they touch these overnight highs, they start moving down. Second entry. Oh, you got a second entry short off the trend line. First entry, second entry. That's the confirmation of the trend line too. That's the third touch, and it's a second entry short. Pretty low risk bar. I like that a lot. Let's see how low risk that is. Actually, yeah, it's actually about a 3-point bar, so it's actually not that low risk. Anyway, we get a failed second entry long here, first entry, second entry. It's off the EMA, off this larger green channel trend line, off this smaller green channel trend line. But it looks a little congestive, so you might be a little hesitant. Down here, we get this big bearish bar, and there would be trapped longs here as it ticks up, but it's only a first entry short, unfortunately, right? First entry, second entry long. Yeah, it's not like a failed second entry long or anything. And this same thing. It's only a first entry because this is a new low, so the count starts over. And here we get, what is that? First entry, that's a second entry short. But I marked it as aggressive because this is getting congestive. Yeah, that's the only reason I marked it aggressive. But it is off that smaller trend line. And then prices start to reverse. And if you're being aggressive, or if you see this congestion that quickly, it did break up into this congestion. So this is at the bottom of that congestion. What's that? What's that green line from? Anyway, yeah. So if you're being aggressive, you might take that. You might also take this I'm seeing, because there is room to scalp out on both of those. And if your trend line is drawn off these lows, you get an opportunity right here, back into congestion, confirming the trend line. I like those. I like these entries a lot. Back in counter trend breakouts, and that's a big move. So, okay, why did I mark this? This is technically a second entry. First entry right here, second entry. So the count, I think the count starts over. First entry, second entry. And it's off the trend line. So I do like that, but it is congestive, so I probably should have marked that with a green arrow. Break into congestion again. However, this time, if you want to avoid questionable trades, notice that this didn't make it to the top of the trend channel, so that shows signs of weakening. However, I'm pretty sure this is the trade that I took on the MES, and there's also a fairly decent setup here, back into congestion, signal bar at the bottom of the range, and then we get this sharp move down. I marked this as aggressive simply because this is congestive, but it is off the trend line, and it's far from the EMA, and prices have been moving up. But we reached these overnight high levels, right? And these overnight high levels, yeah. So you might consider taking that. It works out if you did. What is this? This is a failed, this is a second entry short, but it's a neutral bar. You might Might look at it as off this trend line though. That's what I did want to talk about. So if you took that, it worked out, but just be aware, you know. And we are expecting it to move to a new low, but that's one leg up, two legs up, then the move to a new low. So you can't take this, even though this is the confirmation of this red channel, you don't get a signal bar. And this is just very congestive. However, we are trying to make a new low from here. So what is this? At first, that's like a second entry short. It's also like a failed second entry long. Prices break downward into this congestion. So this is a counter trend break with a nice signal bar. We didn't have this green channel confirmed yet. However, this kind of looks like it's like a small channel up. And so I would wait on a lower high. I would prefer waiting on a lower high, I should say. However, that does look like an overshoot. Overshoots typically lead to a break. But yeah, I think you would want to wait on a lower high. And here we get a first failed second entry long, but it's not. I would say just this looks congested right here. That's probably why I put that square there. Then we get this break of this channel, lots of congestion, and then the confirmation of the red channel. Or did we already get confirmation of the red channel? Oh, yeah, we already did get confirmation. So this is why I marked this aggressive. This is off of the channel, but the signal bar isn't that great, and it's only a first entry short. So it's not according to the system, but you might look at that as it's breaking back into this congestive area. Like that. But it looks like prices might have. You could consider this the beginning of that congestion right here. And if you were watching that and knew that, then this is not the congestion didn't form in this upward move. It formed in this downward move here. So this is a good move. Very aggressive, but a good move. And then we get this smaller channel. First entry failed, second entry short. But it's not at the EMA. However, it kind of looks like a breakout pullback. But breakout pullbacks fail a lot, so they're not the best entries, but it is a failed second entry short. And then we get this second entry that confirms this channel. First entry, second entry short. Take that. Big move down. Nothing in here. Steep move up. And I think this is the second entry, but after that move up, I'm not taking that. There's been no break of the trend line, but you would have gotten a nice move down. But I'm not taking that. This is a second entry short. It's an aggressive move, but you might take that, especially if you had this congestion marked. If you had the bottom of this congestion, I don't know how to arrange my lines, but if you had them marked down here, then that's like a breakout pullback. First entry, second entry. Don't have anything there. And prices, I think for the rest of the day, they started moving in this big green channel. Move up into this congestion. I don't know if it's related to that congestion we saw back here. And it looks like it's below this congestion area. If you want to be aggressive, you get a kind of a weak signal bar at the bottom of this congestion. It's also off the EMA though. So, and there's plenty of room to scalp out. You don't get an entry back into congestion. You get this big move up. That's a breakout pullback right here. That's a first entry. But after that big leg up, you're expecting at least a little bit more upward movement. And then this is actually a second entry, failed second entry short. This kind of looks congestive. And you don't know if this failure is going to lead to something. And especially after this bar, I'd probably exit that trade because I'm thinking lower high, it's coming back to the EMA. But it did work out. Then we break up into this congestion up here, and you don't get any long entries until here, and you would have gotten out by the skin of your chin, I think is what they say, if you stuck with it. But I'd probably try and get out once I see this bar. There's just congestion. Channel down, nothing in here. And this is a 4-tick failure. So what can you look at to avoid this trade? I think this is a first entry. This is a failed second entry long. Off the trend line, and it's a 4-tick failure. This is very far from the EMA. I thought of something else. Oh, you could look at this as congestive. It's 3 bars stacked up, and this one's a doji. So that's some reason to avoid this trade. But yeah, I would think a lot of people got trapped on that. And then we get this channel up, and you get a couple good second entries here, actually. This one being the first one, the signal bar isn't great, but you get a nice move up. And then this one, first entry, second entry, good signal bar off the trend line, off the EMA, second entry long, and that's right at 12 o'clock, and you would have gotten a nice move out of that. So let's take it back. That's a lot of price action today. So hopefully you did your analysis, and I'll be back next week.